Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Dan's retirement journey. No longer Philippines bound. Larice, were you first this morning? Thanks for being here, Larice. Thank you for the donuts and the coffee. I got mine. Mayong buntag. I got it. Inom ko kape. Homemade, but in a Starbucks cup. You can see it right there, Starbucks. That's in my favorite cup that my mom gave me. How is everybody today on this happy Wednesday morning in the Philippines? Yes, it's Wednesday morning here, and I want to welcome everyone, no matter where you are in the world. Dan is live from Bye Bye City, Leyte. We're pushing the buttons, pulling the levers, and doing all we can in order to stay alive and live from Bye Bye City. Woohoo! Good morning. And we have Larry Lee is in the house. How are you this morning, Larry Lee, or this evening, whatever the case may be? Should be Tuesday night there, if I'm not mistaken. Tuesday evening in the Philippines. And Anna May is here. Hi, Anna May. What do you say? What is going to be today? Good morning. Good morning. Larice, the Philippines' most eligible bachelorette and socialite. If she were missing, I would cry. And Minge is here. Minge, thank you so much for your support. Minge, I truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate you being here. Today, we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about mini snow. What do you know? We're going to talk about, I think, dating, relationships, and rituals in the Philippines. It caught my attention this week. It caught my attention for a whole bunch of reasons, I hope. I hope that it isn't too sophisticated of a subject that we can't talk about it first thing up in the morning, Wednesday morning, while you're getting your kids ready for school, or maybe perhaps you've already sent them off to school. Thanks again for joining us, Anna May Reyes. Thank you so much. Let's dive into it. Oh, by the way, if you want to keep up, with it, you're welcome to go to Wikipedia. I believe it's Wikipedia. Courtship in the Philippines. I found this to be interesting, and I'm kind of curious if this still exists. Crystals, are you here? Crystal's Adventure. Annie, are you here? And I put a link up there, so if you'd like to participate in the discussion as we're making our way through a list of lists, then you're welcome. Jack is in the house. You're welcome to come up and follow that link. I pinned the link, I do believe. So let me know if I made any kind of error on pinning that link. So here's the first thing. You know, I was watching a show. I was watching a YouTube vlog where they were talking about, quite frankly, they were talking about virginity, particularly female virginity. And it caught my attention. And then I started thinking, well, shoot, I could do a whole show on this. No, not just on the virginity part, but on what's going on currently in Filipina dating culture. I thought it was interesting. So because things are going to be different in the province as they are in the city. I think they're going to be slightly different. Of course, you have a lot of provincial girls, a lot of girls from the province moving to the city, and they're bringing they're bringing their customs with them up until the time they get acculturated, accustomed to what's going on in the city. You know, in the United States, we don't know nothing about courting a woman, anime. We don't know nothing about that. It's hit it and quit it culture in the United States, as far as I could remember. Hit it and quit it. Hit it, quit it, and forget it. But I'm not sure that is necessarily still the case. You know, let's add in somebody here. Maybe Larry Lee can shine a light on this, what's going on in the United States in terms of courtship when compared to the United States. What do you have to say about that,
What's going
Larry?
on in the United States in terms of
I hear myself.
I got it down. I got it down.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Do you believe, first of all, here, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that we live in a hit it or quit it culture in the United States?
The sad thing is, you're probably right.
What?
And well, we even got the females wanting to do the hit it and quit it. It seems like. You know?
Wow. What happened to courtship? What happened to courting a lady?
Well, you can't even. It's almost impossible unless you to ask a woman out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it just makes it kind of difficult. Hey, Jack, how you doing?
Shahram is here.
Shahram, hey, Shahram, how you doing?
I haven't seen Shahram in a while. Shahram, where have you been? Maybe you've been appearing in the chats as your ninja. Maybe your ninja's been appearing. I'm not sure. I miss you, Shahram. So let's talk about it. So we live in this hit it and quit it culture in the United States. I mean, that's the experience that I can recall. And it probably isn't unusual for a male to have multiple sex partners going on all at the same time. Would you agree or disagree with that? Daisy Lynn's here. Hi, Daisy Lynn.
It's not unusual, I think, anymore. If you're going by today's society and the younger people, it's not unusual for a woman or a man, either one, to have more than one sex partner. I really don't think.
And so, but now Anime Reyes is saying that courting, I mean, I don't even know what courting is. What would it be in, what's the definition of courting, Larry, in your mind's eye, if you're in the United States, let's say?
Courting, you would ask the girl out, you'd meet her family, you would go on dates, you would take a while before you got truly intimate. You get to know each other. Uh, Seems like nowadays it's just wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Like you said, hit it and quit. Even if you're wanting to build a relationship, you jump into it a lot quicker now than when we were in our teens and 20s.
Marvin's in the house. Hi, Marvin. Thanks for coming. So, in the Philippines, though, uh, I'm not sure that marriage, you know, is still a prerequisite for having an intimate relationship with a Filipina. I'm starting to think that, yeah, I'm starting to think that there are a whole new set of rules. But Anna Mae, what do you have to say about that? Anna Mae, what do you think about that? You're saying courtship still exists. What does that look like? I mean, because I'm looking in Wikipedia, and it's got some interesting things in there. I'm just going to read from Wikipedia to get this conversation going. Basically, it says evident in courtship in the Philippines is the practice of singing romantic love songs. Well, I'm out. I don't know any romantic love songs. I'm out, definitely. I'm glad I came here. I was already married. Reciting poems, writing letters, and gift giving. Writing letters. Are you kidding me? Who does that? Who writes letters?
Nowadays it'd be emails.
Yeah, exactly. Aren't you texting? And so now I had this conversation recently with a young lady who's was telling me that she dreads going to school. She dreaded going to school on Valentine's Day because she did not want to be slipped a secret note. So that would be courtship. She didn't want to be slipped. She didn't want to be slipped a note under the table where some young stud in class professes his love for her or his interest in her. But if you think about it, that is still sort of romantic, and that is, according to Wikipedia, that's part of the Filipino culture. What do you guys have to say about that? Larry, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, like I said, you're talking to a younger generation. Um, when we were younger, yeah, you slipped a note or you had a friend talk to a friend who would talk to her and let her know that you're interested. Depending on your age, if you're still in school, especially grade school and junior high, you usually went through mutual friends to find out what the interest was. Uh, I think that's from fear of being rejected that we would do that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, then you would your dates, your first few dates would be. We didn't call it chaperone, but you'd be basically chaperone because it'd be with friends. It'd be like double dating or triple dating. You go out with a bunch of friends and you hang out together, and before you start hanging out by yourselves. I'm not saying my age group waited till we were married to have sex, but you waited till you knew each other a little bit better.
But what happens when I'm talking to a few Filipinos? What happens when it gets that far, and then all of a sudden you're both making the decision to have an intimate relationship, and then all of a sudden Mr. Man decides that, oh, that was good. I think I'll just go ahead and dump her off and go off to the next woman. I mean, that happens all the time.
Well, that happened. That happened in my age group.
So,
I mean,
well, from what I understand,
you always have the dog.
Yeah.
When I mean the dog, that's all he's after is see what he can get, and once he got it, he's down the road.
The dog is gonna sniff it out, so to speak. Hey, Larry.
Oh yeah, like I said, that's what they considered him. He's a dog. All he wanted to do was get in the girl's pants, however you want to say it. And once he did, he would talk dirty about her. Oh, she did this, she did that, and he'd be looking for his next one.
Oh, that's not a gentleman. That is not.
No, like I said, he's not a gentleman, but he tries to pretend to be with the girls.
Up until the time he gets what he wants, right?
Oh yeah. And
so I think Anna Mae might be right about this. That courtship still does exist in the Philippines. It's very different, unlike before. For now, text, chats, and meetups. But Anna Mae, this happens very, very quickly. I mean, because now you got the high-tech online method, where before it was going in slow motion. And so now everything happens, it seems like, all at once. Courtship happens at a very, very quick period of time, where before it would take months, and now we're talking about you decide whether you like each other very, very quickly. What do you think about that, Larry? That statement.
Well, like I said, I really do think they're more quick to jump in, and I think they're more quick to jump here in the States, and maybe not in the Philippines, because what I'm going to say doesn't apply to the Philippines, but they're more quick to jump in and get married because, hey, we got this attitude, in the U.S. we have what we call a throwaway attitude. You get married, if it doesn't work, throw it away, start over. In other words, get divorced. And they think, and a lot of them go into the marriage thinking, well, if it doesn't work out, we'll get divorced. Not thinking about if we have trouble, how do we work it out?
Oh my gosh, that is so true. That is absolutely the truth. They go in there thinking about it already. They're already contemplating the divorce aspect of it. So that being the case, Larry, would you recommend that people shack up together out of wedlock just to test drive each other to see if all is good in the neighborhood, if you know what I mean?
That's up to the individuals and their situation. I would not recommend a woman with kids to shack up with somebody, because if it happens too often, then you're giving your son or your daughter the impression that, hey, look, it's okay to just shack up. You don't have to worry about marriage. I'm not saying you can't have sex. I'm just saying you got to be a little more discreet. I think you should live apart and get together more often, when you can. Because, here in the States, a lot of times, not always, a lot of times, the father of the kids has custody like one weekend out, every other weekend. So you can get together then, and you take your time to get to know each other. Like I said, I've dated. I don't. Go ahead.
Look at Crystal's comment though. Women prefer to be courted sweetly. Yeah, but Crystal's, is it different? If it's different, if you've already been in one or two failed relationships, and or if you have children. So I was looking at the stats, and would it be different for, let's say, one of the gals who proclaim to be virgins between the ages of 18 and 24 represent 47% of the females in those age ranges in the Philippines. But you have a rising number. I mean, it's a scary number of single moms. So let's say 40% was pretty shocking to me. I would have thought for the Philippines, that number would have been a lot higher. I apologize. I did not look up the number results for if you were comparing it to the United States. So I didn't look up the 18 to 24-year-olds in the U.S. to see what percentage claim to be virgins. But I mean, the single mom thing is going crazy right now in the Philippines. And would the rules be the same? I know. Take a breath, Dan. Take a breath. End of sentence. Hey, would the rules be the same? Would the rules be the same if you already had children and you'd already given it up to somebody? That's an interesting thing. So are the rules different for you if you've never been married, but you already gave it up, which resulted in a pregnancy, and now you're raising the kid? How would you be looking at the relationship differently? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask.
I think in the States, it makes a big difference, because the guys are going to be dating, going to say, hey, we know you do it. And there will be.
Yeah. Oh, we already know she sleeps around because she has a kid and she hasn't been married.
Well,
so is that the way you think? That's the way when Westerners come to the Philippines, they view women.
I don't know. I think
if they see a single woman with a child, is that a target instantly? Is that an instant target?
It depends on the guy that goes. There's, like I said, you have the dogs that are who's there just sniffing, and then you have the guy that's looking for a partnership. Now, the guy looking for a partnership, he may, have a question, but the older he is, the better off they're going to have to. I'm trying to think of how to say this. He's going to think, hey, we all have done stuff, especially the older the guy is. Let's be honest about it. We've been there, we've done that, we've seen what can happen. Hell, we've been involved in some of that, and I'm not saying we've had kids out of wedlock, but we've been involved where you've had sex and maybe you worried about the girl was pregnant because she had to take the test and then you got lucky and she wasn't. But we've all made mistakes, and the older we get, the more we realize that, and the less we hold that against somebody. But if you're talking to some guy that's going over there and what he's looking for is a virgin, then he's going to hold that against him. I'm trying to get on.
Menge is saying before the way of courtship is like going to the girl's house, probably asking for permission from the parents to date, and then the father or the mother has to give their approval, and then they start a dating relationship. But Menge is saying that it's different now. Online dating is just evident that we are living in a digital era. Tim also caught my attention by saying that the single mom group is going down according to the latest reports. Well, I know that I was reading about that there's an odd demographic downturn that occurred during the COVID. Now, you would think during the lockdown, everybody's procreating, they're having a good old time. I was thinking to myself, more women between 18 and 24 must have lost their virginity during the COVID era than at any other time in history. But it turns out that even married women that were already in ongoing relationships stopped having children in 2020. And that is scary a little bit. That's a little bit scary to me because that means that, the world is looking towards Asia, Southeast Asia and South Asia to procreate. So the world keeps going. Everybody's looking to Asia for that. And then all of a sudden people stop having children. But see, it's always dangerous. It's always dangerous to be looking at demographic trends like that when trying to predict the future, especially the future population of the world. Because after all, that would just be plain silly. Because if you try and make predictions based on demographic trends, then we would have already been extinct right now in the world. Because I don't know if you remember, Larry, I bet you do. I bet you remember Paul Ehrlich's book, The Population Bomb and the Population Explosion and Famine 1975. Do you remember those?
I don't remember. I remember the Population Explosion book that were talking about how quick we were going to grow up. Hey, Jack, how you doing, man?
Jack, thanks for joining us.
I looked on the line, and they said the average global age of, number of virgins between 18 and 24 is 38. I'm trying to see what the average age or what the average number is. The average American loses his or her virginity at age 17. Virgins make up 12.3% of females and 14.3% of males ages 20 to 24.
Wow.
I just looked at, yeah. I figured we'd be a lot lower, but I didn't think we'd be that much lower.
If you're in the West and you're hanging around, you're sitting there and you're talking about your kids, your daughter, you already know that the chances are pretty good if she's over the age of 20.
She's over 17.
Yeah, over 17. Yeah, there's a pretty good chance that she has been deflowered. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing that's interesting. Yeah, 20 years ago, I'm just going to be as frank as I always am. I was hearing guys talking about, I'm going to go over to the Philippines. And I'd say, why? It's because I have a better chance of finding a young virgin female that would be interested in marrying me than I ever would have here in the United States. In fact, my friend told me that he has never even encountered a virgin female in the United States in his entire life of sleeping with a very, very high number of women. So Crystal's here chimes in by saying, I myself got in 2 failed relationships after I got married. Finally, if that person accepts you for the package you've got, he's the one to be with for the rest of your life. And I think that I don't hear men in the West, in the United States in particular, the ones that I hung out with that were going to the Philippines, I don't hear them saying those things anymore. Oh, I'm going to go over to the Philippines to find a young virgin female to marry. I don't. As a matter of fact, Jack, I often hear them saying the opposite. I actually have them saying, "Oh, I don't want to have any more children." Maybe they're burned out on paying that child support check, but they're more like, I'm going to go over there and find a professional woman who already has a kid, and then you come over here, and there are plenty of single females. Yeah, they've never been married, but they have children, and that's who I'm interested in. See, that's what a lot of my friends say.
Well, also, you got to remember now, a lot of your friends are older. Now, you take the younger guys, Jack's age and younger, they may be wanting children, but they want a traditional wife, which you hard to find in the States. It's not so. I'm going to tell you the truth. I never cared if a woman was a virgin or not. I'm talking when I was a kid. I didn't care. I cared about whether or not she cared, took care of herself, had pride in herself. Like I said, we all make mistakes. We all have had sex at some point in our lives, however young we were when we started. I mean, so the older you get, the more likely she's going to already had sex. So who cares?
Sir Luke in the house. Thanks for joining us, Sir Luke. How you doing?
Like I said, there was people my age back then. They wanted to play around, but when they wanted to get married, they wanted to have a virgin. It's like, wait a minute, you're nowhere near a virgin. You've been playing around how long? And now you want the woman to be a virgin.
Yeah, but Larry, hey, if you don't mind me interrupting, in a strange paradox, right? When you talk to a woman during that same period of time, she would be saying, I'm looking for a man with experience. Is that not true?
Yes.
Is that
some women, yes. Some women, but there was some women that would prefer to have a virgin male, and they'd learn together. That was a smaller number. But I'm just saying, the thing is, if you're going to play around a lot and you're going out with decent girls and you're just using them for your pleasure, what kind of person are you? If you're going to say my woman's got to be a virgin, I can't see that. I never could see that, even when I was. And I figured what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And but maybe I'm a little different. Also, my father, my mother, my oldest sister's my half sister. We're not full. It was my mom was a single mom. My dad married my mother back in the 40s. And I had, like I said, there were 7 kids. There was 8, and one passed away. So my mom and dad had 7 together, and my mom had 8. So you got to remember, I come from that background as well. So I come from a background where, hey, it's acceptable. And my cousin George, his oldest son, he adopted him, but that was his wife was a single mom when they got married, and then he adopted the son and raised him as his own. And they've had 2 more since. So like I said, in my family, it's like, okay, well, that's all right. Like I said, I was raised to believe, people make mistakes, and you can't pay for it the rest of your life. Now, unless it's serious, like you killed somebody, I believe in people getting second chances.
So, but now what I'm curious about, and I'm hoping that one of the Filipinas in the chat will chime in here. Are you looked down upon if you end up having a child out of wedlock? Are you looked down upon? So in the United States, we used to have a problem with teenage pregnancies, but even that has
Oh, yeah.
flatlined a little bit. In other words, that has flatlined a little bit. And
Well-
so, yeah, I think a lot of the reasons why that's flatlined, that number, is because there aren't a whole lot of female teenagers in childbearing age right now. You know, we hit a demographic trough in the United States, and so we're kind of like in a population dip as opposed to population rising. As a matter of fact, I know that if you look at welfare cases, if you look at what
Hey,
welfare,
Jerry.
if you look at the welfare cases, social welfare, the numbers, the caseloads are way, way down. And the reason why they're down is because there simply isn't that social environment that exists when welfare began 20 or 30 years ago. People simply are not having children, and very few of them are having children out of wedlock under the age of 18. There's a lot of demographic change, population change going on right now in the United States. But I've been talking a lot of smack lately about some of it is and some of it isn't, right? I can twist the stat around to make it seem like anything I want in order to sell my argument. But if you look towards the Philippines as they import more and more of Western culture, then I'm seeing Western problems emerge. Now I could be wrong, and those Western problems are almost identical to what we went through in the West in the last 15 to 20 years. What do you think about that?
I'll chime in here while they type in their response. When I was in high school, my senior year, a girl I knew got pregnant, and they wouldn't put her picture in the yearbook. She was able to graduate, but she could. I don't think they even let her. I was a January graduate, so I wasn't there for the graduation. But her picture was not in the yearbook, and I don't think they even let her walk across the stage. She had her daughter. I want to say around the same time my youngest nephew was born, which was in May, which is right before graduation. And so, I thought that was wrong. I mean, you could at least a yearbook picture. I mean, especially because you haven't taken that summer before usually, so she's not going to even be showing that she's pregnant. But yet they wouldn't put her picture in the yearbook.
Yeah, in the 40s and the 50s, they used to send the pregnant women off to live at grandma's house until the baby was born, and then they would return and they would say, "Oh, this is we're gonna raise the the kid of some
cousin, the nephew, yeah."
Yeah, the nephew, right? They would identify him as, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that sort of thing does go on in the Philippines.
Well, my understanding,
Jack.
I watched some documentary on YouTube. This is like years ago. There's a place in Manila somewhere. Correct me if I'm wrong, the Filipinas. There's girls in there, like, I don't know, ages 10 and up, pregnant. There's like hundreds of these girls in there, and they're just like popping every like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh my, that is just so messed up.
or it is if they're that young. I agree with you. But
Yep.
no,
But I also think there's a hit it and quit it culture that's developing here in the Philippines.
And that's
I mean, only
I
Yeah.
think that's in the bigger cities.
I've seen documentaries where this kid, he's like half German and half Filipino, and the Filipinos make fun of him in school.
because they're bullying them. Do they get bullied in school?
Yep. And
I
bullied at
think,
home.
especially I think if the father's not around, they probably
Yep.
get bullied.
The German father took off, went back.
Yeah. If the father's around, then that kid's going to be doing better than usually the other student because the father has more money. Usually, not always. I mean, there are some rich Filipinos and some well-off Filipinos, but most Westerners are a little bit better off, or are a lot better off, depending on your point of view, than the Filipinos. So
Sure.
if
Because
the father's
you know
around,
what
he's
comes
got a
to mind
better
while we're
chance.
talking here. What comes to mind is that there's a vlogger, and I can't think of her name right now. She's one of the ones that I used to watch all the time. Something like My Philippine Life, and she hooked up with this American guy, right? This young guy, type A personality for sure. Even came through the camera. You know, I don't know if she ever realized this, but you could kind of see how this guy was, even when she featured him in their vlogs. You know, this dude is bad news, but she ended up hooking up with him, and they made they have a baby girl, and she's been getting on lately saying that she's been sending the guy letters and letters and letters asking for child support, and this guy bailed on her.
Good luck
and
with that.
and yeah, apparently he has 2 children or 3 children in the Philippines out of wedlock and does not support them. Don't you got, let me ask, I don't know if anyone knows of any other situations like this, but can't you just go down to the embassy or the Philippine consulate and they help you apply for child support for that child? From what I understand, child support works almost the same way here it does in the Philippines as it does in the West. Sess. Hi, Sess. Hey, Sess. Enjoyed your interview with Mike at Mike's retirement. I really enjoyed it. You both did a good job. Mike is a good interviewer. He's a very, very good interviewer.
Now,
He's way better than I could ever be. I could tell you that.
talking about child support, the Beauty. I don't know if you know who she is. She's a Filipina blogger up in Manila usually. She did a thing on the child support, and I guess they just passed a law where they could sue for child support.
Sue, well, I'll tell you what, if you head over to the U.S. Embassy, they will shepherd that child
I'm talking
support
about
claim.
against the Filipino guys that bail.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Because Americans and Westerners, it's easy. All you do is go down to the embassy from the country and you file the paperwork, and they will shepherd that thing. They will assign a caseworker. They will shepherd that child support request all the way back to the United States. And Mr. Mann will get that notice in the mail that says your paycheck has been garnished.
Now, don't they have to prove that you're the father, though?
Well,
I'm just talking about blood tests.
yeah, they'll do DNA at the father's request, so the father can prove. Yeah, if the father denies it, but in this particular case, if I'm not mistaken, they've done a DNA test and they've confirmed that he's the father of the. He is the father.
Remember years ago that said Maury?
Yeah, it's kind of insulting, actually. It's kind of insulting, especially if the woman says that you're the only man that I've ever slept with. That is kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, you don't know if that. I mean,
yeah,
we as the outsiders, we don't know if that's true or not. The guy should know if it's true or not. He should know if she was a virgin.
Yeah.
But you and I, we don't know. So, I mean, let's say she wasn't. She claims, hey, you're the only guy. He's going, no. Or,
I mean,
let's do a blood test. I see nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying if he is the father, he should damn well pay for it. I mean, hey, you're responsible. I was on somebody else's chat. It might have been Beauty's. And I was saying that a father should pay for, if he, and the guy's going, there was some guy that answered back like, boy, why should we pay? It's like, to me, he sounds like one of these guys that just wants to go over there, not have to worry about whether or not they get pregnant, not worry about protection, have sex with all the women he can. If they get pregnant, so be it. That's their problem, not his. And that's the kind of guy we want to keep out of our family lives and out of the Philippines. We don't want those idiots there. And I don't want nobody dating anybody in my family that way.
Yeah, You know, it's really strange. You got me to think about an incident that happened to me about 25 years ago when I first come here the first time. And then I was approached by a woman saying that, oh, I would like to have a baby with a foreigner. And I was kind of like, well, that's nice. She comes up out of the blue saying this to me.
Well,
What's your name, baby? Like, what's your name?
Ooh.
Let's go grab a drink.
Oh, many money. Many money.
at the I guess, especially with the white males, one of the reasons they want it because that makes their babies have lighter skin, which makes them. They seem to think that that's going to give them a better shot at a better job, maybe acting. Like I said, right or wrong, that's just the way it seems to be. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, but there was a vlogger that did that, and they said, protect, and then protect your, use protection to protect what you have and not get some woman pregnant because a lot of women, and this has been a few years back. I've been on YouTube following the Thailand vlogs and the Philippines vlogs for about 5 years or more, maybe 7 years, and it was way back when, and they said, that's valuable because women could think that will give their kid a heads up if they have foreign blood. And I'm just, way he was talking was white, but I think even as a black baby and Filipino, it might give them a heads up, but for acting and stuff like that, because they say the mixed, a lot of the actors are lighter skin or mixed blood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, by the way, I wanted to mention something, I don't know now, I know I tried talking a little bit about this passport bro thing, but I think the whole thing is out of control now on YouTube, and I should just keep my mouth shut because I got to tell you something, right? I'm starting to realize that the YouTubers that are doing these videos don't even understand what it's all about. And their groups hijacking the name. They're actually hijacking the name Passport Bro, and I think that's outrageous. So I think because the whole thing is out of control now where people don't even understand what folks are talking about, I just need to keep my mouth shut about the whole subject. But so, why, when I decided that, the last 2 of Steve's videos.
Did you see the one today?
Yeah, it convinced me. I think I'll let others make an ass out of themselves so that I don't have to make an ass out of me. I think that's where I'm going with this.
I was going to say now, he says passport bros aren't just black. There's a term for.
No, listen. Listen. You started talking about. Listen, he started talking about the passport bros being responsible for trying to convince Congress to add a mobility feature to Medicare. And I'm not saying that isn't true. I'm not saying it's not true. That we're the retired Filipina nurses that started the movement. Yeah, and so you can't go in there and snatch the credit away from the retired Filipina nurses. You just can't, because they gave so much of themselves here in the West, when we appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. What he was saying was there's this one guy that leads one of the groups, the Passport Bro groups, that he has gone and talked to congressmen and some senators himself.
Right. As well as many, many different Filipinas.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, he what he was trying to say is, there are a lot of people are trying to give the Passport Bros a bad name. But he's trying to say, well, they don't deserve the bad name.
The whole thing is it's deeper. It goes deeper in the historical underpinnings than Steve is presenting. And I think he's trying to clean it up because he got so much pushback from the video from before last. He never confronts directly. He always tends to come sideways at the subject for it not to offend, not realizing that by coming in sideways, instead of delivering the message directly, he is continuing to insult people. That's the point I'm trying to make. Oh, yeah. And so, if I've done that to anybody, I apologize, but I won't be talking about it anymore because I realize that there's a lack of understanding of the whole subject, and it's too deep. It's too deep for YouTube. It's too deep for YouTube.
It was just, well, and like you said, though, I mean, when people come over there or they go over there, whether they're passport bros or just guys that want to go over there and retire, because like you're already married, so you're not a passport bro. But there are so many different reasons for people to go. If I go over, I'm not going over looking for a wife. Now, if it happens, it happens, but that's not why I'm going. If I go over there, it's because I want a quieter life. I don't want this hassle we got back over here. I want the warmer weather, and I can rent an apartment fully furnished in the Philippines with the utilities, all included. You know, I may have to pay, but I'm just saying all of it comes together less than what my apartment cost me. Okay.
Hey, Jack, are you renting or are you owning? You buying?
Own.
Oh, you own your place. What's your place worth? What did you give for it? Did you pay
50
cash?
million.
Do you have a mortgage?
50 million cash.
There you go. So, I mean,
Six
if you were
six houses.
so if you were coming in there now, how long have you owned that place?
10 years.
10 years. If you were coming in now and you were looking to buy or rent a place, would you have to float a mortgage for your place?
I probably wouldn't need to.
Excuse me.
Yeah, because things are changing really rapidly as far as the rent thing goes. You know,
Hey, Megan.
I started looking in Cebu, and I'm just going, man, I don't know if this thing's going to happen or not. I want to. So we have the house here in the province of Bye Bye City Leyte, all paid for and everything. I thought we're good to go as home base, but let's say that I want to go ahead and I want to establish a homestead in the city, which I like. I like the city. I like Cebu a lot. I like Manila a lot. I could live either place. So I've convinced the wife, let's go and rent a place. Let's go and rent a place in Cebu City or Mandawi or Puente Osmina, somewhere around there. And I started looking around, and man, oh man, I'm just blown away by what kind of money they're getting for rent. Are you seeing the prices going crazy?
A friend of mine, he's in Southern Leyte. He's trying to buy a condo, buy a house, whatever, and it's like 10, I think, 10 million. He's gonna pay that off before he can even move into it. I'm like,
whew, that would scare the crap out of me. That would scare the crap out of me. There's no way you can get me to make a commitment like that.
that doesn't work back home. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And so I was also watching a couple of vlogs about hearing the horror stories, and I think Larry even shared a few of them on his channel about the land purchase and the homeowner thing. It's it works very differently here than it does in the States. I think that if I were going to do a redo on this whole thing, I think that I tried to convince my wife. I said, hey, I tried to convince her not to do this. I tried to convince her that renting was a way better way to go for a few years, than owning. But she didn't go for it. It doesn't work the same way here as it does in the States.
Right.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Well,
I mean, just doing a title search can take forever. And then
to buy the land, yeah.
Yeah, to buy the land, it's just an experience that I prefer not to go through ever again in my life.
A friend of mine years ago, he has a house maybe 10 minutes away. He wanted to sell me for he said 5 million. And I'm like, really?
Wow.
Dropped down, went down all the way down to 2 million. And
They
the
were
stipulation
just
is,
pulling numbers. They were just pulling numbers to see where you would bite, you know?
Well, they
there's a
started at
stipulation,
5 because you're a condo.
and there's a stipulation that there's squatters in it. I'm like, nope.
Oh no. Oh hell
I'm
no. I
like
would
that.
run like hell from a situation like that. The government would get involved and they'd make you pay them, and you'd have to go over there offer them money to leave. You know how things work here, man. It's tough.
Mhm. You might get me deported for some stupid reasons. I'm keeping my feet out of this one.
So renting, so now, maybe I'm trying to get things all squared away so we can head to Cebu and start looking around. But I just started thinking, so earlier today, I watched Gio in the Philippines, and he was talking about, he did a short video on at what point in time you switch over from thinking in American terms to thinking in Filipino terms. That process, I think I'd have to agree with them that process can take quite a while for some people. But one thing that he caught my attention on for sure was he was talking about when he first moved over here, how he kept spending money as though he were on vacation. And so he initially went through a whole bunch of money on the front end, right? And then I started thinking about it, I go, well, hell, that's exactly what happened to me. So when you first get over, when you first get over here, so I'm just trying to figure out how to mitigate it. And let me give you a scenario. So now we're going to be going over to Cebu soon, and we're going to be looking for around in the Mandawi area for an apartment to rent. So because it makes a good launching off point if we want to travel to other countries. You just easily get to Cebu Airport in Mactan and take off to all parts known and unknown. And so the thing about it is that that first initial move where you're moving over there, even doing a search, you have to be staying somewhere. You have to be staying in a hotel. You have to be staying in an Airbnb. You have to spend money, right? So when Gio in the Philippines was doing his video, I'm thinking about all this. Oh man, he's right. I have upfront costs. It's just not the cost of rent. I got to go there and I got to stay there for a few days, and we got to start hunting around very, very, because finding a place to rent does not work in the Philippines the way it does in the West. In other words, you just can't find the place, go visit it, say I like it, I don't like it. You actually have to go search, and you have to get boots on the ground. You have to start walking around looking for that apartment to rent, especially if you want a good deal. If you go into Facebook Marketplace, you're going to find real estate agents that are they're trying to make their commission money. And so if you go that route, they'll be happy to take you around and show you places that are available for rent. They're mostly going to be at the higher end because they're looking for commission on their showing you around. They're not going to spend their gas taking you around without making money off the thing. And so I'm a little concerned about, I'm probably going to blow off 2 or 3 months rent just in the hunt,
Now, Dan,
it's a pain in the butt. It's truly a pain in the ass. I'm telling you.
You may want Minnie to go by herself at first.
Well, that's not a bad idea, but we still have to go over there. We still have to.
You got to go over there and find a place to stay. Like I said, Airbnb. It's cheaper than a hotel.
Yeah, Airbnb most likely will be the way to go. But I mean, for crying out loud, can you imagine going over there and having to hang out at Starbucks while your wife is out there trying to search for an apartment, and then
it's better to do that, because I call it the foreign discount. Because if you go with her to go see the agent, they're going to raise it. Oh, he's a foreigner. He got money. He could pay for this.
They also, some people call it the Kano tax, a Kano tax.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to pay. You have to pay the privilege tax.
Yeah, and I tell you the truth, myself personally, being single. Well, if I go over and start looking for an apartment, I'd probably be willing to pay the lady to search for it, tell her what my needs are, what my want is, and say, hey, look, I want to look at 3 or 4 different places. You get your commission. You're, you know, but I want I want a cheaper route. I don't want to go here's my budget. I'm not going over that. Period. My budget is, let's say, furnished 350. Let's go high. Furnished. If it's fully furnished. I mean, I got a good sized refrigerator. I got a split air con. We're gonna look at all this stuff, and you gotta explain that to her. Now I say, now if it's not as furnished, maybe 250. Now you try to go in between that, find me the best place you can find me. And I'll give you the equivalent of whatever the rent is for finding it. So I give her 1 month's rent. So she's going to do the best she can to find me that top end apartment, which is the one I would want.
Broker.
Well, I don't like the whole idea of paying the 1 month and the 2 months and all this other crap. So I think what I'm going to do, so that, whose vlog was it? Oh, Tim K. Tim K was showing his friend in Cebu when he was doing his paperwork on his car. He met with the guy who had emailed him. And the guy was showing him his $150 per month apartment. But the guy was saying they gave him a discount for paying 1 year in advance cash. And so there's no deposits and all this other crap. There's just 1 year of rent cash. And that's the way that I prefer to do it. I mean, it's because I don't want to have to go chasing down deposits that I know I'm never going to see again.
I don't think that exists.
Let me say this first.
That's what I was wondering. How can you get that done? Everybody always says no.
Well, what I'm saying is,
they always ask for, and I see this on Facebook Marketplace. Give us 1 month in advance, 2 months deposit, and 12 checks. Yeah, 12 checks. They want you to they want the checks in advance for the money. I'm not doing that. There's no way I'm doing that.
The only way I would give them cash in advance, the only way, is there's an agreement that's ironclad, so it has to be drawn up probably by a lawyer, saying, hey, look, I paid for this year. You cannot kick me out of here, even if you sell it. I got this place for a year. Because what happens if he sells it, next guy goes, I didn't agree to that. I don't give a rat's ass. I paid a year's rent. I'm staying there a year.
I get with an attorney.
As I said, you'd have to get an attorney to draw it up, but you want that drawn up so they can't kick you out because they've been paid without paying you back whatever was left from that. If you want me out of here and I got 6 months, you got to give me 6 months, half my money back.
Hey, stepping back in time for a minute and talking about this relationship thing, I'm curious, Crystals, about what's known in Pangasinan as taga-amo. Taga-amo, which means tamer, is a form of love potions or charms which can be rubbed into the skin of the admired. Oh, this sounds interesting. It can also be in the form of drinkable potions.
That sounds like
a love potion. I'm in. The suitor may also resort to the use of palabas, meaning show or drama, wherein the Filipino woman succumbs to revealing her love for her suitor, who at one time will pretend or act as if he will be committing suicide if the lady does not divulge her true feelings for him. Wow.
She's asking a question.
I had an ex that said she's going to commit suicide if I broke up with her, because I told her I was going to break up with her, because she told me this is like 8-9 years ago, and she said, I'm pregnant. I'm like, no, you're not. Just pull the pregnant card just to stay with me, because I'm paying all her bills, all her parents' bills, and all that stuff.
Right.
I buried her dad. No, I buried her brother. And she may want me to bury her dad, and she wanted me to bury her brother. I'm like, show me proof that they're dead. No proof.
Wow, that's heavy. When that was told to me one time, I said, "Can you not do it in my presence because I don't want to clean up the mess?" Yeah, don't do it in my presence because I don't want to have to clean it up. Yeah, it's messy when you do that. Yeah. So now Crystals is saying, love potion or gayuma. What's in the love potion, Crystals? I must know. I must know what's in that potion.
Red horse, there you go. What's Sam McGill do?
Painted label.
I'm indulging.
Painted label. In Visayas region, according to Wikipedia, it says, when courting, the Cebuanos also resort to serenading. They're serenading, which is known locally as balak. They also write love letters that are sent via trusted friend or relative of the courted woman. I like using the brother. I like using the brother for that.
Which one?
Presents are not only given to the woman being courted, but also to her relatives. Similarly, similar to the practice in the Pangasinan region, as mentioned above, the Cebuanos also use love potions to win affection of the Filipino woman. Whoa!
You remember those old movies, like late 70s, early 80s, something like that?
Yeah.
It'd be at nighttime, and you got the guy at the girl's house. She usually lives upstairs, and you got the boombox.
Yeah, the boombox.
Playing a song.
Yeah.
I think in one of the movies, it was a comedy. The parents go, wrong room. Somebody did.
People from Leyte, where we're located, we perform pangagad, or penebihan, or servitude. Instead of paying a form of dowry during the courtship period, in this form of courting, the Filipino suitor accomplishes household and farm chores for the family of the Filipino woman. Well, that's kind of what Americans do, right? We kind of go in there and we say, hey, looks like your parents need a new roof on the house. Why don't you let me take care of that for you? And that's kind of like, doing the same thing, isn't it?
I did that at one of my ex's houses, like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. Filipinas don't use love potions, according to Christy. We're naturally charming and lovable. Modesty. She said modesty aside. She cracks me up. Crystal.
Is it love potion candy
wine? What is in the love potion? I gotta know. Is it something to put you to sleep? Because in the U.S. we use that. We don't call it love potion, though.
We'll buy you some drinks.
Yeah, we call it something else, right, Jack? We call it something else.
Now, I got a question. Now, Dan, I'm sure you remember this song. Jack might, but I want to say it was late 60s. Could have been, I want to say it was the 60s. Love Potion #9.
Oh, yeah. Love Potion #9.
Till I kissed a cop down on 34th and 9, and he broke my little bottle of love Potion #9.
Let's see. The practice of Paninibihan, throwing the rice over the bride and groom for prosperity, paying dowry, visiting a shrine to pray for fertility, and among strong traces of continuity of Hindu influence in the Philippines. Wow. Even the term asawa from Swami in Sanskrit for the spouse is a loan word from the Indian language Sanskrit. And something, this is interesting, because a lot of words, even a few American words, they are from the Philippines, which is kind of interesting to me. Crystal's adventure lacks what? What did she say there? Lacking sex appeal. Yeah. Well, Crystal,
have sex
you
appeal.
wouldn't need any love potions, Crystals. Yeah. No need for potions. That's what I just said. Yeah. No need for potions, Mickey. Oh, that's correct. So it's kind of fun. So, but all those traditions, because of the internet, and now we got Elon Musk system coming in here. You got internet via satellite. Oh, there's one more thing that caught my attention. It's not only the 40% number. The 40% of Filipinas between the age 18 and 24 claim to be virgins, but I thought that was actually a very low number, but I think that Filipinas are going to be, for some reason, when you ask them the question in survey form, are you still a virgin, they're going to answer more truthfully than others would in others' culture, with the exception of the cultures that demand that the bride be a virgin on her wedding night. In other words, there are cultures that if you're not, then you're going to be an outcast. And that doesn't happen in the Philippines. We accept.
That number's kind of high.
It doesn't happen
You
in
think the
States
number's
either.
high? And I'm thinking the number's kind of low. You caught on to my point that I was trying to make. And so we have opposing views on that. I'm thinking the number is low and you're thinking the number is high. So if you were to put a number to it, Jack, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. What would you think that number would be more realistically?
Now,
Worth the
Remember
number?
now, they're talking 18 to 24. Most
They're
of
talking
those, I
18
think, are
to
going to be
24, yeah.
most of those, I think, are going to be 18 to 20 or
I think the
21.
range that Chris Hansen gets involved with back in the day, I'll put it at that.
Anime says just charm and sex appeal, Sir Dan. No more Landy. I believe it. And so now you have Starlink, and you have the reason why I brought this up is because there was another Starlink figure. If you want to fact check me on that, in fact, I encourage everyone in this chat, don't take Dan's word for it. Don't ever take Dan's word for it. You got to fact check all this stuff. What's the matter with me anyway, going in here and looking up all this stuff? I mean, think about it. I have no life. I have time to do this. So here's the other thing, right? Asia being the number one consumer of pornography in the world. And that's why you see businesses that are grabbing the Pornhub name, putting their own spin on it, and they're calling it, I mean, it's amazing, and they're also stealing the logo from
It's actually
Pornhub.
the Philippines is the number one consumer of porn.
That's right, the Philippines. The Philippines is the number one.
And they get the highest amount of text messages per day. Is the Philippines.
Wow.
Number one. Porn.
Wow.
That's what?
Porn
Yeah,
and
so
text
apparently
messages is number one in the Philippines.
Apparently people are interested in seeing how it's done. Right? So flirting, according to Crystal, is one of the spices in the mix, in the drink, in the potion.
Flirting is,
So I mean, we're seeing this Pornhub logo being used all over the Philippines. I don't know if you've noticed this or not.
I've seen restaurants with like different names, like something hub. I'm like,
Yeah, and you look at it and go, gee, where did they get the idea to name that restaurant? Synagogue Hub. Oh yeah, thank you, Ma'am Minnie. Thank you.
hello,
Ma'am Minnie is
How
here.
you doing, Matt Minnie?
hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Nice
everybody. How are
Nice
you?
seeing you today. Hello.
Nice to meet you. Hi, Sir Larry. Who's that?
That's Jack.
Jack
Yeah.
and
I'm trying to
Kristen.
get you
How are
sponsored.
you?
Look, we got plenty of that sitting in the other room. Let me tell you, Jack, we got plenty of that.
Hey guys, have a good day. Take care.
That's your
Bye.
brand, right?
Bye.
Larry, that's
Oh.
your brand. That's the painted label, right?
No, that's Red Horse. Mine's San
Is that
Miguel.
Red Horse? Show that bottle again.
That's a Red Horse.
Well, you know, Red Horse and San Miguel,
But that's
they're
a,
brewed in the
that's a
same
print, that's a
factory.
that's a printed label, not a painted label.
Yeah. They brew it in the same factory from what I understand. I don't know
The
what the
painted
difference
label's
is.
actually Jack. The painted label's actually painted on there. And now back when I was in the Philippines, it was a white paint that was on there.
Hun, bring me a bottle. Bring me a bottle of San
You had
Miguel.
you had the printed label and the painted label.
Bring me a bottle of San Miguel.
Okay.
Let me show what we're drinking.
Oh, you got Sam?
What you drinking on?
Yeah, you know, let's get the drunk on here.
Here.
It's the Philippines after
Sir
all.
Dan, everyday drinking San
Yeah,
Miguel.
see that looks like a painted label.
Yeah.
Is that painted
Okay, there's
label?
what. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's the painted label.
This one's painted too. I can
Hi,
feel it.
Minami.
Yeah, I think yours is painted on there too, ain't it?
Yep.
Well, they
Yeah.
have a printed label too. Or
Here
at
you
least
go,
they
honey.
used to.
Take it
Always like
easy on that
label.
40 ouncer there.
Let's drink beer. Bye, guys.
Oh, we don't need to be prompted to drink beer. Let me tell you. I'll drink to that.
That's my
I've
breakfast.
drank to that before. I've done that in the past. We used to,
Oh,
we used to have
that's
a drink
love.
called Mojo.
That's love potion number 9 right there, Crystals.
Mhm.
Number 9's Mojo.
Uh,
It's beer and rum and
the red horse, the one who kicks me, she says.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. Woohoo. Good morning, Miss Minnie.
I used to
Yeah, it
drink
looks
the
like the
San Miguel.
Dunkin' may not happen this morning.
Mr. Lou.
The Dunkin' Donuts may not happen this morning. Oh my goodness gracious. We're having too good of a time here. So anyway, yeah. But things have obviously changed, you know, relationship wise in the Philippines for all these reasons, you know. Modern society, McDonald's and Burger King are here, and Jollibee, and who knows what they're putting in the food that makes the breast bigger.
But like I said,
McDonald's and Burger King taste good.
like
Yeah.
I said, when I was in the Philippines,
That's good.
and we all know that was many years ago, you didn't have Jollibees or McDonald's at most places. They might probably had them in Manila, but I never went to Manila. I was in Subic. We didn't have those there. At least not where I saw.
In Bacolod City here, you got a McDonald's right here and
Yeah.
Jollibee right next door.
Oh, if there's a Jollibee, they're going to put a McDonald's right next door or across the street. You know, for sure they
Yep.
will.
Yeah, but
So-
see, now, Jack, the last time I was there was over almost, not quite, almost 50 years ago. I'm pushing 70. I'll be 70 this year.
I'm only 41.
Huh? You're
I'm only
41?
40. Yep.
See, you're
Well,
young.
you know, 70 is the new 50 as far as I'm concerned.
Now, see, the last time I was there, I turned 21 in the Philippines.
Wait.
Oh. Yeah, I turned 21 in the Philippines. And to do something different, because going to the bar was nothing. You know, in the States, in California anyway, 21, you had to be 21 to go to the bars. And a lot of bars would buy you a drink on your 21st birthday. Well, the Philippines didn't give a rat's patoot how old I was. They weren't buying me a drink.
Nope.
So to do something different, me and a group of my friends, we went horseback riding on base. They had a trails with horses that you could rent and go out on the trails, go riding. And then I went and had a T-bone steak dinner for my birthday supper. And then, like every night that I didn't have duty, I went out and got drunk.
You weren't looking for you weren't looking for love in all the wrong places, were you, Larry? Because this is about relationships, you know.
Hey, in all the right places. I found love, so it
Yeah.
must have been all the right places. Uh,
Oh,
but yeah, like
so
I said, it was many years ago.
so we were talking about the gal who came up to me many years ago. I hope life worked out for her.
Yeah.
I hope life worked out for her because she come up to me and said, "Okay." So finally, she comes out and she says, "Well, I'd like to have
Hey, Tim.
I'd like to have your baby, sir." She says it like that. Can you imagine being approached by someone and they say, "I would like to have your baby, sir"? So I'm like pondering. This is interesting. I don't know anything about this. No one has ever come up to me and said those words to me. You know, they've never said, "I want
Hey,
to have
no one's
your
ever
baby."
said that to me.
I've never
Yeah,
heard that one.
mostly in the West, they say, "Stay the F away from me."
Yeah.
You better wrap that sucker.
Wrap it
Oh,
twice.
so when I declined her offer, she started crying. I didn't know what to do.
Mm.
Listen, I like you well enough, but having a baby with you, I just don't think that's going to happen.
You're like, hey, baby girl, here's $5. Go to BK and get a Whopper.
Well, it ended somewhere, somewhere like that. You know, I wish you well. You know, I wish you well, and I hope all your dreams come true. That you end up with that foreigner baby that you're looking for. You know,
And I have to admit, I do drink coffee. I drink mine black, no cream, no sugar.
same here,
Yeah.
right there.
So I don't know, but I know in a lot of places over in the Asian countries, at least they
I
drink
drink
cream
my
and sugar.
coffee out of.
They bring it that way to you naturally.
But speaking of babies, Tim's driver, his wife was about ready to give birth, and Tim was going to sponsor the birth of that child. That would make Tim an automatic godfather, godparent. What do they say?
He said he was a grandpa again.
Is that godfather or godparent? Did that event take place, Tim? Did that
Godparent.
event?
I got two
Tim?
godchildren here.
I think the male is a godfather, the female is a godmother, but godparent would cover.
Godparent. The Godfather, they don't. The Godfather's a whole different thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Let me make it a
Godfather.
deal that you can't refuse.
Yeah, exactly. Be respectful.
Yeah. Tim says he's called Lolo, which is grandpa.
Lolo.
Oh, he's called. Yeah, of course, he's called Lolo. Yeah. All right. Well, then I guess there's a new kid in the world then, right, Tim? Congratulations.
Yeah,
Lolo and Lula.
Folks, hey, I just wanted Tim has reminded me of something. You know, I know it's kind of going sideways, but you know that's what I do. And that is that dehydration is a very big problem here in the Philippines. It's a horrible problem. It's worse than not having food to eat, just about.
And it hurts.
Yeah. And so what you have
Tim, I
to do is
remember.
make sure that you drink plenty of water. Make sure your kids have plenty of water. And there are recipes online for making electrolyte drink. And so even if you can't make sure that kid is hydrated 24 hours a day, go online and look to see how to make the homemade electrolyte solution, because I'm hearing kids are passing away left and right from dehydration in the Philippines.
Dan, Tim said the baby was born on Saturday morning. I remember him saying something about that in my live stream Sunday morning, Saturday night for me, but Sunday morning for you guys. He did say something about the baby I was already born.
Well, that's
been-
fantastic. Congratulations, Tim. I know Tim's driver, by the way, because when we were in Pampanga, Tim loaned us his driver to take us around when we need to go gather up some documents. So I really appreciate that. Baby and mom are both healthy. That's fantastic. Oh yeah, and also Tim's right. Make sure you have Imodium available on the fly, because if you get diarrhea or the kid gets diarrhea, you got to slow that down really, really quickly. So you need the Imodium, and you also need the Gatorade. I realize Gatorade is expensive, but if you go online and you Google it, they're going to go ahead and show you how to make electrolyte drink, and it's very, very inexpensive and easy to make. And so.
Well, that's good because that replenishes what they're releasing.
What you're releasing, that's the most important thing, and that's what gets the kids, is that they'll get a really, really bad case of diarrhea, and then by the time they go to the hospital and they take care of business, there you go, the Imodium. Yep, we all have it. We all have it handy and ready to go. And that's very, very important, because that's why when you go to the hospital, there have been people that have critiqued this. I'm not one of them. The reason why when you go to the hospital, the first thing they do is plug in an IV is because they're replenishing. They already are making the assumption in the hospital that you're dehydrated, and so they're not making a mistake by hanging a saline bag. They're not. It has electrolytes in it. It's going to replenish whatever you lost. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of people, when they go to the hospital and they plug in that IV, they start feeling better right away, because one of the problems is dehydration. I'm amazed at how few people pay attention to it here in the Philippines. I very, very rarely see people walking around with a water bottle. I see them walking around with a sweat rag. Jack, yep. You always see people with a sweat rag, right?
Yep.
They're sweating it out, but I don't see them putting it back in.
Mm-hmm. I was in the hospital last year, February. I'm not going to disclose too much about it, but I was dehydrated and something else. It was not a good feeling. I almost died.
Oh, no. Dehydration is not a good feeling.
6 blood transfusions. Not good.
I was in the hospital a few years back. Now, I was dehydrated, but it wasn't from diarrhea. I had what they call cellulitis.
That's horrible. That will take you out, man. Cellulitis, they got to pump antibiotics in you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they got to do it ASAP.
And but anyway, I was getting IV just because of how dehydrated and how much electrolytes were out for 4 days. They just kept pumping IVs into me, and because I was getting the antibodies by shot, because they just put it into the IV and then go in. And after they quit giving me the IV because they got my electrolytes and everything else back up, they started giving me pills, man. I mean, they were about an inch long or more. I mean, horse pills. I much prefer having the shot in the bag, But I was in the hospital about almost 6 days, 5 to 6 days. And I still got a scar on my left leg.
Crystal's is saying she knows how to make it, the electrolyte drink, but she also says there's an electrolyte drink available over the counter. There is, and they also sell it in powder form in the Mercury Drug. And so as long as they're not out of stock, you can take it and mix it with water.
Well, the powder would be a good one to have, because it will last a lot longer than probably if you already got it liquefied. The powder will probably
Jack,
last
you were
a long
saying?
time.
I missed your comment there, Jack.
I think like a Pedialyte or Gatorade, but
right.
The thing
Gatorade can be hard to find at times. Gatorade, I had to go all over looking for Gatorade one day. I finally found it in the Metro Mart. And you can't get it in the big bottles. They only sell a little teeny tiny, 8-ounce bottle or something like that. Yeah, and it costs hella money.
Like 34
so I go, man, I got to find a different way of doing this. And so I went online and I saw the recipe. In fact, I need to restock my Imodium supply. Well, you better get that done because you never know when it's gonna hit you, you know, or hit somebody that you care about, where you'd wanna help them out. Teas is good too for stomach. That's true. And Knitband is in the house. I just saw you, Knitband. You've probably been here for a while. Knitband, are you still in Thailand? When are you coming to the Philippines? I decided that if you end up coming and you end up coming to Palawan, I'll go ahead. Minnie and I will make our way to Palawan and we'll hang out with you for a day or two. But are you still on the island? Where are you at, Knitband? Anyway, electrolytes, very, very important. It sounds like Crystal knows all about it.
Well, she said she's used some of that stuff for her babies when they got sick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of mothers will probably know about it. He says he's in San Francisco.
No, he can't be.
That's what it says. He says, now, is that San Francisco, Philippines, though?
Yeah, is that San Francisco, Philippines, or San Francisco, California? You just flew in. Your arms are tired, right?
Yeah. My feet are getting sore sitting on that branch. You know. Hey, Knitband. I hope you're doing well, sir. But are you in the Philippines or California? Because there's more than one San Francisco.
Right.
Myself,
Where are you, Knitband?
I would prefer California.
What? How did you end up back there? What happened to the plan? What happened to the plan? Oh, I mean, hey, I'm happy if you're happy, but the thing is, you know, I mean, come on.
I would prefer San Francisco, Philippines myself.
I mean, you move around fast, Knitband. It's hard to keep track of you.
I'm going to tell you, unlike, I'm trying to think of his name, Tony, what was his name? I left my heart in San Francisco.
Oh, that's Tony Bennett.
Thank you, Tony Bennett. I remember the Tony. I couldn't remember the Bennett. Unlike Tony Bennett, I did not leave my heart in San Francisco.
Be right back.
You know? All right, yeah. But, no, I did not leave my. He says he'll go back in a month.
Yeah. Yeah,
hey,
I should
Leonard,
hope
how you doing,
so.
sir? Leonard's here.
Leonard is here. Hi from wonderful city known as Houston, Texas. Leonard, come on up here and tell me if you're dodging bullets in the middle of the night in Houston. Oh, by the way, did you find love, Knitband? Yeah, you know I was following you on Facebook. You know I was following you on Facebook. Did you find love? Because we are talking about courting and romance here, Knitband.
Tim,
everyone
I always tell
everyone.
Tim, always tell everyone I am the world's worst singer. Okay, I know I'm no good at singing. People will pay me not to sing. They wouldn't pay me to sing.
Well, you would be a millionaire then, Larry.
I can double my money if I threaten this trip.
Hey,
give me money. Put it on.
Hey, Leonard.
Tim Dizyak, how are you?
Hey, Leonard, did you did you dodge any bullets last night in Houston? All right, what happened?
I just muted my YouTube channel because it was
saying, "Who is love or what is love?" Well, I thought that's what you were seeking. Oh no, romance. There's a difference. Maybe there's a difference between love and romance.
I think so.
Yeah. So, Knitband, you should share with us if you found romance in Thailand on this last trip. And how did you court the young lady that you were romancing? That's important to know.
Mingay, how are you?
Don't tell me, Nitban, that you courted by pulling out your wallet.
That's the wrong way to court.
That's for sure.
Or did you pass? Did you pass a young lady a love note?
Hey, anime.
I would pass anime or some of these young ladies here. I would gladly pass them a love note if I was there and they were around. But y'all
I
know
agree.
my feelings on that. I don't know when I'm going, and so I'm not going to try to get a relationship going before I go, or at least before I know when I'm going.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. You know, that's kind of the way. If I were on the market, that's kind of the way I would be handling things.
Well, like I said, if I knew I was going to go in a year or two, I might start looking. I wouldn't try to get anything started, but start looking to see what's out there. But, you know, I wouldn't want to start anything before maybe 6 months, a year at the most.
10K, Tim, are you serious? Did you see that number? Lender will cost you about 10K or more a month for a caregiver. If I'm getting 10K, if I'm giving 10K, I'm going to have an RN though, right, Tim? It's going to be a registered nurse. I mean,
now, Tim, that's also pesos, right?
That's hella money. Oh, Nitban said I wasn't serenading her. I was not playing a guitar outside her bedroom window for sure.
Well, Nitban, if you're like me, you better not be singing either, because that'll drive her away. I'd drive her right down the road in somebody else's arms.
Well, you know, Dan, that's only $180.
That's 180 if the rate stays good, but
if it goes back to what it was before all this started, it's still about only 200.
Yeah, or even 250. That's not bad for a month.
No, that's not bad for a month.
And I'll be able to handle that. So, thank you, Tim. Very good information. I appreciate it.
Crystal says this is what Marlboro stands for. Men always rely on love because of romance only.
Huh.
Oh, that's interesting, Crystals.
Very.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. What does Marlboro stand for? Men always rely on love because of romance only. Yeah. That's Marlboro.
Yeah, that's very good. Very good, Crystals.
So Crystals is reminding me that I want to talk about this also. I'm always looking at like the historical underpinnings of
Hey, Larissa, how are you?
You know, let's see. Nitban, that is the sweetest thing a man can do. Ha ha ha! Is in courting one. Oh, we know how to get your heart, Crystal. We know what floats your boat.
Ed Denoy. How you doing, Ed?
Ed Denoy is in the house.
Ed Denoy.
Yeah. During the 19th century in Spanish Philippines, there was a set of body language expressed by courted women to communicate with their suitors. These are nonverbal cues, which Ambeth Ocampo referred to as fan language. These are called as such because the woman conveys her message through silent movements that involve a handheld fan. Really? I do not believe I've ever seen that.
I've heard that. I've never seen it, but I've heard that.
I have heard that also.
However she moves her, she could like let you know she's interested. She wants to. I think they talked about that in some.
Oh,
TV
but wait a minute.
Like
wait a minute. I think we're on to something. Think about this, Ed. Think about this. So during the lockdown, during the global experience, the cataclysm that occurred here in the Philippines, of course, women as well as men started having to wear the masks.
Right.
I noticed that Filipinas were now flirting using their eyes by blinking. And that's how they conveyed their interest in you. Am I wrong, Filipinas in the chat? Am I wrong?
I believe
I don't think I'm wrong, and I think they got used to it. History is repeating itself, folks.
Yeah, because that's something they used to do in the past was they blink their eyes and flirt with
They
their
would
eyes.
blink their eyes like, "Come over here, sailor."
Yeah, they've been doing
I'm
that
sorry.
here in the States for years.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
but how
you
would
have
they
to be
do
more
it if
direct
they're
with
wearing the
sailors.
mask? And then it's obvious they would revert back to history, you know, where they would
Yep.
use the nonverbal cues in order to get the attention of their suitor, of their man. And so that works better. Because
Yeah.
I mean, can you picture it?
Yep.
I mean, I could totally picture it.
Yep.
I could totally picture it.
They talk to their moms and grandmas.
Right, that's true. Women covering half her
Crystal,
face.
agree
Oh,
with
wait,
you,
check it
David.
out. It's in here, guys. It's in here. Examples of such speechless communications were a courted woman covering half of her face would like her suitor to follow her, counting the ribs of the folding fan, sends out a message that the lady would like to have a conversation with her admirer. Holding the fan using the right hand would mean the woman is willing to have a boyfriend, while carrying the fan with her left hand signified that she already has a lover and a lover. Ooh. And is no longer available. Fanning vigorously symbolizes that the lady has deep feelings for a gentleman, while fanning slowly tells the woman courted does not have any feelings for the suitor. Putting the fan aside signals that the lady does not want to be wooed by the man, and the abrupt closing of the fan means get lost. Hey, but I'm telling you guys, myself being the keen observer of the human condition, I've actually seen them utilizing the mask in place of the fan. Do you guys think that? You think that's
Makes
possible
sense.
that they were doing that?
You bet, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, like I said,
Moella, how are you?
like I said, the fan part. There was it was either a TV show or a movie, and one girl was teaching the girl from the poor side of town, telling her what the fan movements meant.
You know, I
That's
think I
how
saw
I've heard
that.
of the fan movement before. You know, it was in
Yeah.
a show.
Sir Luke's cracking me up by saying how we text. It's how we text each other before mobile phones.
Wilma, how you doing, Paul Wilma?
That's fun, Luke. Sir Luke, that's fun. And Ed is saying Japanese super glued their masks to their faces. Well, that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a pain in the ass, you know, trying to remember when to take it off and when to put it on. I figure you could do no wrong if you super glued it to your face.
Yeah. Till it was time to take it off.
Who flirted with you recently, Sir Dan? No. Nidban. This is not a true confessions vlog today. This is not a true confessions vlog. I was observing the beautiful young Filipina at the Dunkin' Donuts when a Westerner came in, and she started blinking her eyes in rapid succession. And I noticed it from across the room, and I was like, hey, is she flirting with the foreigner? Is she flirting with him? And so there's my answer. My answer was she was using both the mask and the eyes to signal the foreigner that she was interested in him. And I think that's very clever. I think that's very, very clever. Crystal said, "You got it right, Sir Dan," and she's laughing. Eyes do the moves. Eyes do the moves, Crystal said.
Yeah.
Come over here. Come over here, you know. Come on over here. Follow me. Good morning, Ma Wilma. How are you? Thanks for being here in the chat. Oh my gosh. Muslim women flirt with their eyes. So maybe that's part of the historical underpinnings also of the flirting eyes. But dancing eyes. they catch my attention every time. The dancing eyes.
Yeah, I'm kind of an eye guy.
Jack is laughing. If you think about it, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to think about it, and it's also a safe way of flirting. So I mean, I had this experience happen many years ago when texting started to become very very popular. I thought it was a very very bold move from a Filipina to come up and ask, "Oh, that's a very very nice cell phone. Can I see your cell phone?" And like a moron, like an idiot, right? I'm in some kind of hypnotic state. I hand my cell phone over to the young lady, and she starts putting something in there, right? And she hands it back to me, and I'm looking at it, and in there was a very graphic message. Why don't you call me sometime, with her phone number? And I was like, that's hecka clever.
Yeah.
That's very very clever.
Yep.
Did Minnie see that?
I agree with Crystal here.
Yeah.
She says if
Yeah,
one rolls
she killed
the
me.
eyes,
Are you kidding me?
Don't approve.
I would have never survived that had she known. Oh, now she's gonna know, because now she's gonna watch the replay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan's Confessions.
I didn't know what
Dan, that's your new channel name. Dan's
Hey.
Confessions.
Oh, hey, by the way, of course, I deleted it expeditiously. Immediately I deleted it.
But
I didn't want to hurt that. I didn't want to hurt the woman's feelings. For example, let me tell you what else has been going on lately, right? As far as that goes, along the same lines. So one of Larry's women will text me, okay, and she's the only mutual friend connection.
they're not my women.
Larry's women.
But Larry, you're the only mutual friend.
One of Larry's many women will text me.
Yep.
And she'll be like, "Hey, can you? I requested an ad. Can you add me?" And I'll go look, and I'll see it's one of Larry's women, and then I'll text back saying, "Oh, sure, I'd be glad to have you as a friend. By the way, I'm happily married and have been so for almost 18 years." Next thing I know is, bloop, they disappear. Bloop, disappear.
Yep.
They disappear. The request is withdrawn.
Denied.
So that's kind of funny. That strikes me as
how many phone calls on Messenger I get. I don't
go
answer.
up. I'll bet you a 10.
Answer. Unless I know the person. Like, all right, let's say you called me, any one of you guys. If you called me and your name popped up, I'd answer.
Right. Well, I'm pretty much
people that I know. We just know each other through Facebook. That's it. Don't be calling me. And some want a video call, some just want an audio call. And if they call enough times, I'll send back that I never answer calls from Messenger. I just don't do it. And then they'll send something like, "Well, okay, can we be friends?" And then I always tell them I have a girlfriend, which everybody in here knows I don't. I have a friend that's a girl.
Yeah.
So I'm not lying. I just stretch it a little bit because, like I said, I'm not looking for a long distance relationship. I don't want one. My mother's still alive at 97. I don't know if Jack knows. And I'm not going anywhere till after my mom passes away. 10 years, 15 years ago, yeah, I'd been willing to go at that time. But as old as she is now, how much longer does she have?
Hey, Larry, Crystals was saying the rolling of the eyes is like, "Get the hell away from me."
Yeah,
And
don't approve.
Ed is chiming in saying that in Egypt, if she lifts up her burqa and shows you the ankle, you hit a home run. It's on, baby.
Crystal, the way things goes with me is going to be pulling the burqa down a little bit so I can't see anything. And it's going to be rolling eyes continuously, so I know to get the hell away.
This is all fun to talk about. But like I said, the reason why I'm talking about it is because do I believe that all these ways of courting a female in the Philippines is changing? I most certainly do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it could be me and the way that I view the world, but I come out my front door every day and I look around and I go, man, every day, Nicole is here. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for coming to the
hi,
live
Nicole.
chat. I like Nicole. Nicole's great. Hey, she never forgets that I'm there in the, cranking out those videos. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I want to talk about, because what I was about to say was boring because it's the same thing I always say, and that is that the Philippines is becoming more like the West every single day. Now that I'm done with that part, I'm going to move on to this contest thing and also the future of the channel. So the future of the channel is, guys, I know this is a true confession vlog, but I have a confession to make. The confession is, I don't want you to be shocked when I say this, but I just don't enjoy doing the videos as much as I do talking. I just don't enjoy it as much, and
There's
the reason
Larry.
is because
You just had a home run with Larry.
yeah,
That's the way I feel.
yeah, it's so much work. It's so much work. And
For me,
I'm a retired guy.
For me,
You
it's
know,
not the
I-
work. It's not the work because
Red Horse.
let's be honest
I mean,
about it. I don't edit.
I much rather
I need
come
to
on
learn
here. I much rather come on here and spend a couple of hours with my friends 2 or 3 days a week, as opposed to doing a video which takes hours and hours of time editing. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to do videos. I'm going to stop doing videos. When Minnie and I are on a trip, of course, we're going to video that and we're going to present it. But I want to tell you about an experience I had recently, and it may lose me a friend or two when I talk about this, but
Hello,
I just got to deliver this message. So I go to this restaurant. I decide I won't mention it, but I get encouraged to go to this restaurant in Bye Bye City because it's a very, very popular place that many, many videos have been done on YouTube about. I guess it's one of the highlights of Bye Bye City now, and it's a requirement that if you live here, you must go to this restaurant. And so I wake up one morning and go, man, Minnie, it's the day. Let's go. Let's do video. Let's take the special camera, bust it out, so I get some good, clear pictures. And we make our way down there, which is about a half-hour drive on the trike. And we get there nice and safely because it's off the main highway, and I start videotaping. I go in there and we sit down and we eat the food, and I got nothing to share with you. I got nothing. I cannot come to you and say, this thing was the greatest restaurant. I can't come to you and say, oh, Bye Bye Leyte is so lucky to have this place. A place where the expats can go hang out and spend tons of money for crappy food. I cannot tell you a lie. I cannot. And so I cannot put that video up because I would be ashamed of myself if I did like everybody else and I encouraged everybody to go there when I was dissatisfied with the food. And so it's just the way that it is.
It's like expectation versus reality.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed. Disappointed. I got there and the whole experience was just staff going through the motions. Oh, it's time to put on a show for the foreigner, and then walk out of there spending $35 or $40, being very, very unhappy with the entire experience. The only thing good about it was the restaurant overlooks the ocean and it is a beautiful view. That's the only good thing that I could say about it. The food tasted like it was prepared the day before or 2 days before, and they have a set formula on their menu that was easy for me to see what the formula was, where it's just like you get this group for 5 people, this setting, is for 4 people. This setting is for 2 people. Blah, 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 blah. You get a free bottle of Coke with every meal. I mean, you know, they bring the food to the table, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, this food is dead. It's not alive. It's not alive. It doesn't speak to me. It doesn't speak to my heart. It does not speak to my stomach. And I have a stomach that you can really, really have a conversation with if you wanted to. It did not do anything for me. And I can't put that video up. And I was telling Ma'am Minnie, I was saying, you know, this whole thing is just a big pain in my ass. You know, because I could have been online, I could have been talking to my friends. Instead, I'm here wasting 4 or 5 hours of my day, and then I have to put a video together telling everybody what a great place this is, and I cannot bring myself to do it.
Now, Dan, Tim suggests you do a Dunkin' Donut video.
Yeah, exactly. I'd much rather do that than put up a video where I have to lie to everybody, you know. And so I notice this on YouTube a lot. For example, there's this one guy. Oh, especially Thailand. Since Mamie and I spent, you know, a couple of months there. We spent a month there when we first came to the Philippines, and then we just came back from there. As most of you know, we spent another month there. So 2 in the last 7 months.
You ought to have your Thailand fix for a while.
Yeah, I have it, and so I won't be going there anytime soon again. But here's the thing. So now when I watch these videos of these guys doing the whole Thailand experience, right? And now I'm not getting the view count, but they're getting millions of view counts, right? So I'm sitting here, I'm going, okay, I know the exact neighborhood where they're filming, and the shots are so tight that each separate video that they do, right? Each video they do, they make these shots super tight. So that, okay, I'm going to do a video right here in this 2 inches of screen. And then tomorrow I'll do a video here in this 2 inches of screen. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? You're showing me absolutely nothing. And
They're
yet,
showing you one video cut into about 10 pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting there going, hey, how is it they're getting bazillions of views? And I've come to the conclusion it's because they're putting outrageous thumbnails up there where it says, never do this, never go here, you know, don't retire in Thailand, first impressions of Sukhumvit Road. You know, they're doing all this stuff, and people flock to their videos saying, oh, I've got to watch this. Even I do it. I must watch the video to learn why I should not retire in Thailand. You know? And then I'm just saying, man, I'm doing something horribly wrong here. I'm doing something horribly wrong, and I have to cut it out, and I have to do it now. I will not be happy if I have to resort. You know, Steve said something today on his video that, Larry, you may have caught it. He says, you know, some of these people are simply playing to their audience. I understand that.
Right. Yeah, he did say
I
that.
can't be the one to do it because that's just not me. And so I come to the same conclusion. That I'm no good at it. And hence, that's why we have to find the right channel name for Dan's retirement journey. And that's why I'm going to give away 5K in pesos by the end of March. If you're selected the winner for coming up with a new channel name for Dan's, there have been some great suggestions, but people are thinking about me as being a travel channel. That's what I wanted to say. And I'm trying to transition over to be a talking head channel. So,
yeah, well, I agree with you. I mean, I enjoy this. And all of you that know me know I enjoy talking. like I said, I've gone 6 hours on the live stream one time.
I
But
know
I
that.
prefer. Yeah, you were there. I prefer to do this, but you got to do the other. But you got to pick what you want to do. We
Right.
all pander a little bit to our audience. We pick the topic towards our audience. The thing is, some of these go over the top and don't do this, and it's just to bring you in. What you and I and Leonard, from what I've seen of his, although he hadn't done anything for a while, Leonard.
No, I gotta get off the stick and start putting up some videos.
What we do, we just say this is what it is. Like I showed my walking around my apartment complex.
Right.
And that's
Yeah,
what
I've seen that a couple times.
Well, there's a couple different ones. I mean, because I
Well,
walk in
maybe I
different
saw both.
areas.
Yeah.
But then the grocery store, I did a couple on that. And that's what I don't say, don't shop at this one, or you gotta shop here, or oh God, the price is outrageous.
Yeah.
I don't do it, and that's what Steve's talking about. People going over the top.
Right.
What you said,
Yeah.
they try to get that hook out there to get you in.
Yeah. Clickbait.
Yeah, they're just folksy. I mean, the ones that are going to be the most successful are the ones that you can resonate. I mean, you can relate to. For example, Old Dog New Tricks. Very, very homey.
Yep.
You feel very, very comfortable around him. He just delivers the message so matter of factly, and he's a great communicator. You have so many great communicators out there. Some of them script their videos, and some of them don't. Filipina P is a great communicator. Rebeauty is a great
love the P. Love the P.
Old Dog New Trick is a great communicator.
Steve,
I realized today Steve is an excellent communicator.
Yes, he is.
Mike's Retirement is an excellent communicator living in Dumageddon. But the other thing I kept thinking about, especially when watching Mike's Retirement, is, okay, you must move to Dumageddon.
Well, actually, he lives between Dumageddon and Valencia. He rented a house, but and somebody asked him to do some more.
Hi, Des. I love Des. She's so cute.
Yeah.
Yep, she sure
But anyway,
is.
he was saying the only ones he can find that are available a lot is the ones that are outside the price range at what most of his viewers want to see.
Right.
And he said, when I can find those, I'll put them up. He says, but the problem is, those usually go so quick.
Right.
He's talking about the couple $200 to $300 apartments.
Right.
And he says they go so quick, so it's hard.
Oh, yeah, they do. They do. That's my worry about going to Cebu. I know that I'm going to have to invest some money in at least a month of staying there through an Airbnb in order to find the apartment, that will suit us.
I'll tell you the truth. I would love to find a place like Chris had in Cebu. And I'm not talking about there on, what is that, South Road, or I'm talking about when he was downtown Cebu.
Yeah, those are going to be
like that would be,
price.
that's not too high price. He had a 2-bedroom that was fairly good.
Well,
if I
downtown
was going to live in
Cebu's
Cebu,
be higher.
No, it wasn't that high where he was living.
Well,
no, it was higher out there on South Road or whatever.
Well, you can find, hey, Larry, I'm going to tell you, I've been looking around the further out. So you can, like, for example, if you're near the airport and you're going over to like Lapu-Lapu or something like that, you can find places all over the place for, $150 a month. But, of course, airplanes are going to be flying over your house every 10 minutes. You can have
houses in the flight path to the airport. So I'm not going to buy
the place where Chris lived at when he was living downtown, and I'm not talking about the first place that he talked about was really a dump. I'm talking about when he was doing his walking around videos. The place he was living there, if you ever saw the video on the place that he was in after he moved to 2-bedroom place.
Well, that's the area I'm looking in. Larry.
That's what I said. That's the area I wouldn't mind going to.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one that makes the most sense. You could
walk somewhere, or
you could walk everywhere. You have the hospital close by.
Yeah,
you've got everything you need right there.
Yeah, like I said, if I would go to Cebu, that's the area I would look in. But like I said, I don't know if I'd want to go to Cebu, Dumaguete, Valencia, Iloilo,
I'm thinking you'd
Cavite
probably be,
area.
Larry. I'm thinking from what I know of you, you'd probably be better prefer it in Dumaguete or Cebu.
That's what I
Kitty
think.
cat.
Those would be my first two.
Yeah,
First two. And like I said, Valencia would be all right.
yeah, but it's so small.
1 p.m.
See, I
Kitty
can
cat
handle that.
with Takio Mertz.
I think I can handle that. That's a place I would not want to stay long term without going out there and staying for a month or two.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, because like you said, it's a lot smaller. But I've lived in small towns, and I don't mind. Leroy, New York, where I lived at before I moved, I lived there for 15 years, and it's maybe 5,000,
I was
7,000
going to say
people.
that's
That
pretty
was it.
small. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real small. But I had Rochester half an hour away. I had Buffalo about a half hour away.
Right.
So I really liked that because I had the smallness that I could get out, walk around, and know a lot of people. But yet I was close enough to the bigger cities that I could pop in anytime I want.
Right.
I kind of like that. I really do. I don't know if there's enough as a retired person, if there would be enough in Valencia to keep me in Valencia more days than not. Because if I'm going to spend most of my days if I moved out that area, if I was going to spend most of my time in Dumaguete, I might as well live in Dumaguete.
Exactly.
Or right on the very outskirt of it.
Yeah. It depends
Depends
on what you want to do.
For us to get to from here. We got to go to Cebu, and then we got to take you got to take the bus south, or you got to take the ferry. You know, it's hard to. Someone told me though that I can go to Masan, where Tim K lives. I go to the south, and there's a ferry that gets you over to those other islands. But
well, it's not a big.
we still have a plan. We still have a plan of visiting Dumaguete, but I don't know when it's going to happen. I had promised Sammy. A lot of you know I promised Sammy a long time ago that I was going to visit, and I still plan on visiting. And also, you have Seth lives there, and you have I wasn't really planning on mingling with the power elite, group, but there were a couple of people I wanted to see.
Exactly.
Seth, it would be very nice to see Seth. And Sammy,
you do have some resorts
in there. Sunshine Shoulders is in Negros Oriental, I believe.
Yeah, he's in San Carlos.
In San Carlos. But hey, listen,
well, Bud's in U.S. now, isn't he?
I don't know if
he's moved yet. He's not moved yet. Not according to his last video. Yet? No, not according to his last video.
Okay, I didn't actually catch it.
California, then down to Mexico. He's going back to San Diego. I think he's going to stay with his daughter.
Hey, can I survey you guys about something?
Sure, if it pays.
So Sunshine Shoulders does this video, right? So I like to critique once in a while, and so it's fun for me. So he does this video and says that losing identity is the reason why people come to the Philippines, because you're afraid of being valid. You're afraid of losing your identity. And so if you stay in the States, I never once felt that upon retirement. And I think that this
never either.
Yeah, I think this is generational. For example, my dad, this troubled him a lot. This troubled him a lot when he retired.
Hey, where's mine?
Yeah, he had a very difficult time,
but not as much as he wanted to.
See,
my father was retired on total disability at 47.
Yeah,
and he would tell me later on. He says, if I was faking this, I would enjoy this. So in other words, of course, now my father drove semis cross country, so this allowed him to be home with the family more. And according to him, he would have actually enjoyed it if he was healthy. So I think it wouldn't have bothered him.
It never affected me that way, retirement. And I think the reason why is a couple of days before, right? I get this message. My boss wants me to come see her. So I go in the office, I'm sitting there, and she goes, Dan, that retirement for your generation really doesn't exist. In other words, if you want to, you can stay in your job and work until the day you die, because there's really nobody behind you to replace you. In other words, yeah, there
Keep
isn't.
working, Dad. Keep working.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in other words, maybe she was approaching this from more of a philosophical perspective, but
He does.
I never felt as though someone was forcing me from my job.
Good point, Tim.
You know, I never felt like I was being forced to leave, but my dad was forced to leave his job, and he's the one that struggled until the day he died with his identity. And so what I'm proposing to you here is that age and generation you fall into has every bit to do with it. And so it just
possible.
Yeah, you can't really automatically assume that everybody is going to go through this process of not being valid, not being what's it called?
Validated, or your identification. But that can happen while you're working.
Tim always makes a great point.
Yep.
In order to lose it, you first have to have one.
But what I'm saying is, though, you take somebody that really doesn't like their job.
Good morning, Filipina Raquel.
Because it pays well, and it takes care of the family. They can't wait to retire. Yep. Now, my cousin George was a factory worker, made good money, and he got enough time in to lock up his retirement. He took a job as a non-union electrician and made half as much money and was a whole lot happier. But he had all his bills paid off before he did that transition.
Yeah. And
then he became a union electrician, and then he went into construction electrician. But even then, he couldn't wait to retire. Instead of working to 66, that gets full retirement, he went ahead and retired at 65 because he had the retirements from his, well, like I said, the factory job gave him a retirement, plus all the retirements he had from the construction work.
Right.
And I don't know how long he was working, retired before he ever touched his Social Security. He just didn't need it. But like I said, he was very good with his money. He bought 5 acres, had that paid off in no time. The remodeling, but he'd worked construction before on his own. He did drywalling and all that stuff. And like I said, he became an electrician. So he did all the remodeling, which saved him a lot of money. He added a second floor to his house. I think some friends might have helped him, but he didn't have to hire people to build it for him.
Okay, guys, we're wrapping it up. Hey, thanks everybody for being in the live today. I really appreciate you guys all showing up.
Hey, thanks for having us, Dan.
Here's the other thing. Someone told me you cannot say hey to a Filipina, that you'll get in trouble.
Okay.
And so it's
how you doing? I got to drop that hey, don't I?
Kind of great. Yeah. I think my wife said it's similar to calling a dog, hey, you, come here, something like that. So I'm trying to break that habit.
I've heard something about that. They can file charges against you, and you get arrested and all sorts of stuff.
We go like this, and they go like this.
Please make sure you go to Jack's channel at 1 p.m. for Gcash with Pacquiao Mertz. And also, don't forget about the contest. Your chance to win $5K in Filipino money straight to your Gcash. How you win? Come up with a new channel name for Dan's retirement journey. As Filipina Raquel suggested many, many months ago, could even be years by now. I think it was years ago.
Come to your channel.
She said you need to shorten it up a little bit.
Mine. I'll probably be in bed.
So, Larry, if you wouldn't mind doing the honors, by the way, how do you make that entry as you go into the chat, you go into the comment section after the live stream is over and just shoot as many names as you can come up with. You can come up with multiple entries. If you're selected, you will get the $5K sent to your Gcash account the same day. So, Larry, if you wouldn't mind doing the honors of taking us out of this live stream.
All right, everyone. Remember, be kind to each other. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe and healthy. Plus, as always, try to have fun. Have a good night.
Take
Bye.
care.
Right.
Take
Thanks,
care,
Tim.
everyone. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Catch you later, Larry.
Yep. Catch you guys later.
See you later.